Hey everyone, this is Chris and I have COVID. If you've been watching this channel, you already know that. If not, well, I'm out of the closet. I have COVID. And today's episode, we actually want to talk about a big issue for a lot of people, either with or without COVID, and that is the COVID stigma. First of all, I just want to thank all the viewers. Thanks for tuning in. It's been great to see so many people connecting, watching, subscribing, and all that stuff. So if you haven't already, you can click the virus on one of these sides. I always forget which one. That will take you to this, that will let you subscribe. And that's great. So today is actually probably my worst day. So far it's day 5 for me since I've known I've had COVID. And today's symptoms are probably the worst. I just got cold-like symptoms. I'm super plugged up, so if I have to sneeze and grab a Kleenex, that's why. Yeah, so not feeling great today. Yesterday felt really good. Today it's kind of gone downhill. So talked to a nurse today and she said that's pretty common around day 5. You kind of come and go and symptoms get worse and then they get better. So hoping in 5 days I'm symptom free. So today actually what I wanted to talk about, and this has come up because after talking to a few of the viewers and friends that have either dealt with COVID or people that have known that have dealt with COVID, is one of the big issues is the stigma that comes with COVID, or if you don't know, it means the prejudice towards people that have COVID or who have spread COVID, or people maybe not wearing their masks, all that kind of stuff. Also, we've seen prejudice or discrimination towards people of certain races that have countries where there's been outbreaks too. So I want to address that a little bit. I actually found a really cool website. Well, not a cool website. It's the Government of Canada website. So pretty standard website, but they actually, they've addressed this issue, stigma. And this is something I realized in my own life right away that I was a bit worried about, telling people what they would think, and would people be scared to be around me? Would people already are with COVID, but even more so. And I've heard this has been an issue, and as I talk to people, that's something that either they were afraid to get a test because of it, because they were scared that somebody would judge them. Some people were scared to let people know because they think they're not socially distancing or following the rules. So there's a lot of different things that we deal with that people, and myself included, have been prejudiced towards. So you've all seen the post, or you've all seen people walking around maybe without a mask, and we're quick to judge, and we don't know what's going on there. And other things too. So today I actually want to read this article that they posted. I think it deals with it quite well, and I'll just kind of read it out, and I'll post it down below in my description, and you can kind of read along. And I just kind of want to address some of these issues and what I've thought about it. So I'll read this, try and go quickly. Hope today's video is not too long. So here it goes. So COVID-19 pandemic can cause stress on people and communities. It can lead to individuals experiencing social stigma, exclusion, marginalization, mental health issues, and discrimination. Lack of understanding about COVID-19 sparked feelings of fear or anger towards others, and unfair treatment against a number of groups, including people who have COVID-19, people who have symptoms of COVID-19. So maybe you've bumped into somebody that has a cold and you're instantly scared by them. Healthcare and frontline essential workers. I've heard this from a lot of doctors and nurses that it's been an issue since COVID outbreak, that nobody will go near them. They're scared of them. They think they're going to get COVID from them. And I know healthcare workers take great care in not contracting the virus. I've had several friends that have been working in ICU wards and stuff like that, and they haven't got it yet, and they're around it every day. And same with emergency nurses. So they do a great job trying to stay safe. So people from countries where the virus has originated. So we've all seen those attacks. There's been different attacks on different ethnic groups of people in like grocery stores or sky trains, or just different places where people think it's their fault that COVID's here and they have nothing to do with it. So that's horrible. So if that's something that comes into your mind, maybe check what's going on. But yeah, it's really too bad a society like ours is still thinking that way. Yeah, people who have recently traveled or returned to Canada from another country, we'd hope that people that are traveling are taking that 14-day quarantine properly. But some people, yeah, they've traveled and maybe it's been over their quarantine and people still treat them harshly. People from communities, cultures, or industries where COVID-19 outbreaks have occurred. So this is one for me. I work in a COVID-19 outbreaks shelter. So I've been in contact with dozens of people that have had COVID, staff members that have had COVID. So I've personally tried to isolate from people just because of that, and before this, because I was worried I would share it. And people who may not follow recommended health measures. Another group, and it's not mentioned here, is just kind of the homeless population too. So it's even harder for people homeless or just in poverty right now, because there's even more stigma towards that group, that maybe they're sharing it or stuff like that. I worked with a lot of them, and most of them are really great. I would say probably the same as the general population that has COVID. They did their best to try and while they stayed with us to not spread the COVID virus. So these are real people. They have real feelings. They're going through tough times, and they don't deserve to be stigmatized and to be looked down at even more. So check your heart on that too. So this next part, it says stigma and discrimination are now barriers that prevent people from getting tested or accessing care, treatment, and support they need. So I've seen this and heard this too. So people have been scared to get tested because they thought it might impact their business or their workplace. So they were worried that they wouldn't be able to work and all that kind of stuff. So, or how work would look at them, or maybe their job would be threatened, or all kinds of things like that. So people have really struggled with that and anxiety around that. So people who have experienced stigma and discrimination through their life, example, racialized groups and people with mental illness and disability, members of the LGBTQ and all that stuff, and communities is what they mentioned, may not have access to protective resources during pandemic, like a safe home to isolate in, or quarantine when ill, which may introduce additional challenges. During my time working in the shelter, I've met a lot of people that are they're actually homeless, or they're in the situation they are just because of COVID. So they lost work, or they lost a place to stay because of COVID. So they're homeless because of that situation. Maybe they don't have the resources to buy a mask or to have a mask. It's a little easier now because people do give them out, but for a while there, it wasn't that easy to get them. So stigma and discrimination can be dangerous and harmful to individuals and communities by exposing people to high levels of guilt and stress. So that's something I know a lot of people struggle with, guilt and stress, especially if possibly they contaminated other people, friends, family, workplaces. They went unknowingly with this virus into that place and maybe contaminated. And they don't need extra resentfulness from people around them for that. I went to work as well. I went to work with COVID. I didn't know. I was contaminated for 3 or 4 days until I had symptoms. So, and that's the same as other people. So we're like, this virus will infect anyone. It's so pernicious. So we can't put the blame on people. It's not their fault they got COVID. We can't be blaming people, even if maybe they didn't wear their mask once, or you saw them do something. Like, don't heap the blame on them. It's already bad enough. They're probably dealing with lots of mental health issues because of this, because we're isolating, and it's hard. So check that too. So disempowering people who cannot control their living, working, or social systems. So some people just don't have the ability. They don't have a safe place to stay, a safe place. They can't buy groceries in a large quantity because they just don't have the financial resources. So they have to go out and get them daily or do different things. So this has caused divisions in different communities, causing people to delay or avoid health services and contact health authorities. So this has been a big issue. I've even talked to some friends and encouraged them, hey, you should go get tested. You've got symptoms, and even if you have to miss a day's work or have to tell people at work, or the fallout, you still got to do it. And it's too bad that there is a fallout from doing the right thing and getting tested. So yeah, if you're in a workplace, or you're a manager, or if you're an owner of a business and you're watching this, like yeah, give people a break if that's the case, and maybe show a bit of compassion with that as well. Causing people to delay or avoid healthcare. I just said that. Making it harder to monitor, stop, and slow outbreaks. So what happens when people have this stigma is when they don't go get tested on time and they wait too long until they're actually really sick, they likely have connected with a lot more people, infected more people, or they get really sick before they even get tested, and then they're in a critical situation. So discouraging people from getting tested in quarantine, so the stigma can do that. People are scared to do that. I've heard of people, business owners, just trying to isolate at work even though they knew they had COVID and they didn't get tested because they thought it might affect their workplace, shutting down their business, or putting at risk the workers' livelihood, not so much their health but their livelihood, because they wouldn't be able to work. I've heard family members, pressure from them, or just of people that have kind of ostracated people because they've had COVID and they didn't want anything to do with them for a while, or created family dynamic issues like that. The other thing is it making it harder for our contact tracers to do their jobs. So this stigma does that as well. So there are things we can do. To reduce it. So it's got a few tips here, and I've got a few other ones as well. So even people without symptoms can test positive for COVID-19. So I had really minor ones. Everyone I've talked to actually started with very minor symptoms, and they didn't think they had it at first when those first symptoms showed. This includes people who have not yet been developed symptoms or pre-symptomatic and may never develop symptoms. So some people are totally asymptomatic. This is why it's important to show support and kindness and empathy to those who have or are tested for COVID-19. So that's a big deal. If people have it, and I've been overwhelmed. Like, I gotta just say thank you, everyone. I can't believe how much support, how many people said they're praying for me. Like, wow, not many people do that anymore. But it's been really cool, just people coming out of the woodwork. A lot of people I don't know, people from around the world have just said, hey, take care, buddy, we're praying for you, get well, all that kind of stuff. So I've seen that and experienced that. I've had a lot of people offer, even today, just to bring me coffee or things like that, and it's fantastic. So that really helps. It helps to know that you're cared for and loved, and that goes a long way when you're here by yourself. I'm trapped in this RV, but other people might have as good a situation as even I have. So it helps people to take care of your own mental and physical health. So protect yourself and those around you. So those are things you can do, and choose your words carefully when you talk to people that possibly have COVID and things like that. One thing I want to bring up too, and my example is fairly extreme, and I hadn't planned this. So I don't think everyone out there that has COVID should start a YouTube channel and start posting everything about it. But I would encourage you, if you have people in your life, to reach out and let them know, like, this is the situation I'm in, and don't be scared. If there's people you can trust, it's worth letting them know. I took a bit of a risk here, and it's been amazing to get the positive feedback and support that I have, but it's worth the risk to let work know or to go get tested and all that. So I know today's been a bit of a ramble. I've kind of just freelanced it today, but I want to thank you for watching. I encourage you to do your part to end the stigma, end the prejudice. I got to tell you, I had some of those stigmas or prejudices against people that either weren't social distancing properly, or what I thought, or different groups and stuff like that. So that's something I had to check my heart with, and when you're in the situation, you come to realize that quickly. So yeah, that's basically about it, except for if you are you have some questions and stuff like that, or you have COVID and you're kind of dealing with this, I know there's some good resources on different websites. I'll post them below, but also there's a phone number you can call. It's 811, and it's the nurse hotline. They have a special part for just COVID people, so I encourage you to check that out. Call somebody there. I'm sure they can put you into a person that can help you, especially if you're dealing with mental health issues, suicidal thoughts, all that kind of stuff. It's serious. A lot of people are dealing with that, and we would hate for anything to happen to you. So thank you, everyone, for watching. I encourage you to like this side. Oh man, it's so hard to do. It's backwards. There we go. Like, subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't already, so you get my next updates, and share it with your friends. So hopefully this can help a few people, and let's do our part to kill the COVID stigma. So thank you, everyone, and this is Chris Sloan. I'm O, and I have COVID.